Hi again then guys, and welcome to another Forza Horizon 3 speed build, and this time we're tuning up one of my personal favourite SUVs, not just in the game but in real life as well, the Cadillac Escalade. I'm a huge fan of all Cadillacs, massive fan of the Escalade. I love the Lincoln Navigator as well, which is pretty similar design wise, and I believe, I may be wrong, but I believe it shares some of the same tech or the same underpinnings. As far as performance though, the funny thing about the Cadillacs, or most of them at least, on Forza Horizon 3, is I've personally found them to not be quite as quick as I would have expected. Now that being said, it's not slow, not by any means, but with the CTSV last week, and with the Escalade now, I would have hoped, and expected realistically, especially given the power, to be around 250, 260, if not more. Given that that's the kind of performance that some of the other sedans and SUVs have with a similar engine swap. So it's kind of surprising to me that you're looking more at 233 miles per hour, as you can see from the benchmark, and as we'll see in a moment. But that still makes it one of the quicker SUVs. It's not one of the quickest, but it's definitely nowhere near being the slowest. Now, as I've said, I would recommend that 1500 horsepower engine conversion. I would of course recommend keeping all-wheel drive. You can change it up if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it. The twin turbo is pretty much a no-brainer, and for the rest, you know the drill. Increase the power, lower the weight, give it race tyres, basically fit everything with racing in the title, except as you can see I have not fitted the racing wings, and I would never recommend that for straight line performance, and I have not fitted the roll cage either. There are very few, if any, SUVs, especially modern ones, that need a roll cage. Some, like the Ford Bronco, the older ones, can benefit sometimes from it, handling-wise, but not really in a straight line. Not for these cars anyway, certainly not for an Escalade. It's already a very heavy car. As far as performance goes on the benchmark, it's not bad, not at all. 3 seconds to 60 is not bad, certainly not supercar territory. 5.7 to 100, and even 233 flat out is no slouch. As I said, it is among the quicker of SUVs that you can buy, especially for 90 grand. Now, as far as the gearbox, I would recommend a final drive of 4.3, then individual gears, which again will be familiar to people who have used my tunes before. You don't have to make many adjustments to this one to get good performance out of it. So I'd recommend 2.9 for first, then 2, 1.5, 1.17, 0.95 and 0.78. Then for alignment, neutral, camber and tow, no surprises there. 4 degrees of caster. You could go lower if you want to make it a bit looser, but I've gone midway to get a bit of a mix of both. But of course, you can play around, find what works best for you, that's the whole point. As far as anti-roll, we've got those on 34 and 39, springs at 252 and 287. Not surprisingly for me, I've got the ride height as high as possible, because I like that on my SUVs and also on my muscle cars, but some people might not. You might want to slam it, that's fine. As far as dampers, we've got those on 13 and 6 respectively. Aero doesn't apply, and for the diff, again, anyone who's familiar with my tunes will know the drill. 100% on acceleration, 0 on decel, but on a bigger, heavier car, by all means, feel free to try different settings, especially if you already know settings that work better for you personally. And as far as the centre split, we've got that 70% in favour of the back end, which for an SUV is basically the sweet spot that I usually go for. It gets great launch off the line and manoeuvrability, but without sacrificing what makes it a great off-roader in the first place. Now, this tune is on my storefront. You can use the keywords down in the video description to find it, but all that remains now, of course, is to actually take it out on the road to see if it can hit that benchmark. Now, as far as performance goes, especially on bigger, heavier vehicles which aren't necessarily the most aerodynamic, such as this one, you're not really guaranteed that top-end performance. It could hit the benchmark speed, but maybe it won't. And even if it does, it may take too long to get there. Now, in the case of the Escalade, although it's not as quick as I would have personally hoped, it's still not slow by any means. It's more than quick enough for most SUV events, especially actually in lower classes, because you can wring a huge amount of power out of it without getting up into these big, say, supercar level classes like we're currently in. Now, that being said, it can go slightly beyond the benchmark, up to around 234, but you do need a pretty long straight and a clear road to do that. So you're looking at around 228, 230 usually speaking, and you can get it a bit higher, as you can see here, with a longer road. But overall, if you do enjoy this tune, which obviously I hope you do, there are plenty more on the channel like this, and some much quicker ones as well. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.